Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watsu-K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Let's talk a little bit of New York Rangers hockey. And I got to say, from a big picture perspective, what an Eastern Conference this is. I can't remember the last time where all 16 teams were this closely bunched. Just to put this whole thing in perspective, there are only 11 points between the current 1 seed, the Washington Capitals, and the number 16 seed, the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. It's crazy to think that that's the case, but it is. And the Rangers, they're just kind of in the middle right now. You know, the classic C student. They are one of 4 teams with 30 points right now, but they just suffered a very major blow, losing superstar defenseman Adam Fox to long-term injury reserve, which means he has to be out a minimum of at least 10 games and 24 days. Of course, the team officially terms it an upper body injury. Everything that I'm hearing says it is a separated left shoulder. I know what having a separated shoulder can do, and I can tell you it is very debilitating. So the earliest he could possibly come back is December 27th. That would be against the Islanders. I definitely think it's going to be longer than that. And it's really disappointing because Fox, I think, has been reignited playing alongside Vlad Gavrikov as his left defenseman. I think Fox, as good as he was with Ryan Lindgren just couldn't carry that load anymore of being a top pair left defenseman. And Fox is so good on offense, he really needs that defensive defenseman. Like Brian Leetch needed Jeff Bukaboom for all those years. And I know Fox is having a good year. You know how I know Fox is having a good year? As critical and as ornery as Ranger fans are, and I'm one of them, so I could say it, pretty much them in Toronto, I think run 1 and 2, take your pick. The Ranger fans this year have not been killing Adam Fox a ton, and that's because the combination of Gavrikov and Fox has just worked as a top pair defenseman. That's a signing Chris Drury came through with, signing Gavrikov. And he had to trade Chris Kreider to do it. I know it hurt to trade Kreider, but this team needed better defense in the worst way, and Gavrikov is providing it. So now without Fox, what are we looking at? So let's talk about this defense. Now, some Ranger fans wanted Scott Morrow after he got called up to play the top minutes right next to Gavrikov. I'm dead set against that. Morrow is an up-and-coming prospect. He has a good amount of potential. But to me, you don't call a player up from Hartford whose biggest issue is his defensive awareness, okay? Morrow is an offensive-minded defenseman. I just don't think he's polished enough yet to be doing that. To me, Gavrikov and Bradenschneider is what makes sense. Because let's think about it. The team's number 1 defensive pair will face the other team's top forwards. And Schneider is just more suited to do that than Morrow. I look at the last game against Dallas. Dallas, one of the best teams in the entire NHL. Schneider had the second most ice time of any Ranger. And if you want to get in the specifics, he had an expected goals for of 1.11. Translation, 4th best among Rangers. He was a productive player. That's the easiest way I'm going to say it. 3 block shots. I like seeing him do that. But I think the defense as an overall unit has stepped up. Carson Soucy's been better this season. During the offseason, he was pretty much the number 1 target that Ranger fans wanted off the team, and he scores the first goal of this game against Dallas. Now, the biggest issue is the power play. The power play went 0 for 5 without Adam Fox. That is probably going to be the biggest issue that needs to be addressed. And to me, this is where I want to see Scott Morrow. I want him to have an opportunity to play on the first power play unit. Mike Sullivan and David Quinn tried a 5-forward look against Dallas. It did not work at all. They looked out of whack, and I can understand that an adjustment is going to happen without Adam Fox in the lineup. But let a defenseman do this job who does it well. Morrow's offensive ability is what brought him to the dance, and it's why the Rangers wanted him from Carolina when they made the trade for Keandre Miller. So now let's see what happens going forward. Thursday night, it's Ottawa on the road, a team they're tied in with that they're tied with in the standings. Let's see what the Rangers do and how well they can overcome the loss of Adam Fox. But the fact that the defense as a whole is playing better, while I'm nervous about it, it does give me a little bit of optimism that they can hold the fort until Fox returns in the next several weeks. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of the content on New York Sports WickerMedia. Please like and subscribe and share. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.